time for another edition of the Daily Racing Form Weekend Preview. And on this edition, we're going to be heading over to Saratoga. We're going to talk all about the Friday races at Saratoga. And actually, Alexa, it's going to be all about the ladies on Friday. The three races we preview today will be run just a little bit later on, in just a couple hours from now. And we'll go three different races individually because over the Friday and Saturday at the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, there are like 15 incredible races and so many good horses running.
Yeah, it's a really big weekend. I love what they've done with creating this whole festival around the Belmont. And obviously, this is the weekend, third leg of the Triple Crown. We've talked about it on SportsGrid. We have a special feature show just for that. So we're sticking to Friday. And it's good. It's like you said, Gino, about to happen in a couple hours from watching this. So you can watch and put your bets in straight away.
So we're going to take a look at three individual races for Friday, and the first of them is going to be race number 9. That's the Ogden Phipps. This is the big race for the older fillies and mares. It's one of the most prestigious races of the year, and when you look through history, some really, really nice horses have won this race, like Serena's Song. You see Ashado, Ginger Punch, Close Hatches, Songbird, Midnight Bisou, Clairiere just a few years back, and then Randomize actually won this race last year. That's the number 7 in here. Let's meet the field, Alexa. We start things out with Darth Vader. She comes out of a race, the La Troyenne, and 3 of these fillies actually were in the La Troyenne. Raging Sea, who won that race. You have Randomize, who finished 3rd, and then Darth Vader, who finished 4th. They actually all ran pretty well in there. The winner, 3rd place finisher, even the 4th place finisher, Darth Vader, had some legitimate trouble, was kind of trapped behind horses and never really got a clear way through. I thought this was an interesting group. What do you think about Darth Vader here to kick it off?
You know, I think this is probably a longer distance than she prefers. This race is 1 1/8 miles. She's got some early speed. I think she's likely to get there and set the pace, though. I think there's others that are faster, like Randomize, which you see on the pace projector. She's likely to get the lead. And I don't know. I'm not confident she's going to be able to stick around with this distance. I think she wants shorter.
Dazzling Move feels like she's probably one of the horses that's going to be forwardly placed and maybe pushing it. Some of her figures and her ratings, though, are a little bit low when compared to others in here. We have a replay of Dazzling Move from her most recent race. She was finishing behind Candied in here. Now, Candied, the number 5, is going to be scratched out of this race. So that'll take away a rival that actually defeated her last time.
Yeah, it will. She really didn't slow down. Like, if you look at her fraction, she just got caught. So she didn't really slow down this day. It's the same distance. She had a really fast workout in preparation for today. So hopefully Safi has her tuned up and ready for, I was going to say a rematch with Candy, but now that Candy's out. But I think with her odds at 15-1, is an attractive play, in my opinion.
Leslie's Rose is the number 3. She comes into this race, I think, very well set up, like nice. You could tell that they've kind of pointed for this race, and they had her run once in May. She finished 3rd in May. It was at a shorter distance. It was like a nice setup to get her prepped and primed to go to this longer distance. Now, she's never proved she can get the 1 1/8 miles, but I think that if she can, she's going to show it today on Friday. I feel like she'll get a good trip if she can sit just behind the leaders and not get caught up in a battle with Randomize. What do you think about Leslie's Rose in here?
Yeah, she's an interesting horse. She had such an impressive 3-year-old year early on, going to the Kentucky Oaks, was well-liked, kind of a medium shot on the board in that race, but had a really bad race and hasn't won since, but they're not bad efforts. Like you said, she got 3rd, a month ago against some really decent horses. And the question is a bit of the distance, but she's not totally unfamiliar with today's distance. She's got IRAD, her trainer Todd Pletcher, does well with horses running second time off a layoff. So I think she's a valid play in here I don't know if we'll get 3.5-1 on her,
especially with the scratch of Candy now, right?
Yeah, she might go off a little bit lower odds, but I don't think she'll be less than 2.5-1.
I mean, between the 3, the 4, and the 7, the money will probably be spread out pretty evenly, I think, between the 3 of them, because it doesn't seem like any one of them are head and shoulders above the others. One of those major contenders is Raging Sea. She just won the La Troyenne, so she beat a couple of her other common rivals in that race. What was really impressive about her, too, that was her first start in, 6 months? So generally when horses come back off of a layoff like that, Alexa, they usually need a race or two before they run their best. She was ready to go. She likes Saratoga. She's won 3 times at Saratoga, so she knows the track well. And she's a multiple grade 1 winner for trainer Chad Brown, jockey Flavian Pratt. When you're talking about the top trainers and top jockeys, they're both in the top 3 in the entire US and North America.
This horse is forever in my mind because I was hosting a show last year when she was entered in the Double Dog Dare Stakes at Keeneland, and I double dog dared my co-host Rachel to wrap her picks while I dropped a beat, and she wrapped Raging Sea, and then it won, and it was just like such a funny moment. So I'll ever think of this horse, but really talented horse. She's won most of her races since then, except for this one last year where she got 4th place. She's one of the only 2 returning her in randomized, but since then won so many good big races, 2 grade 1s, 2 grade 2s, has beaten Candied and came back and beat randomized. She can set off the pace. I think that's going to give her a big advantage in here. She has run this distance 8 times and won 5 of them and gotten second 2 of the other times. So, I mean, she loves this distance. I think she's the one to beat, but I don't think she's unbeatable.
What makes the race a little tricky too is a lot of these fillies and mares, they were coming into the year kind of expecting Torpedo Anna to be in a race like this, to be at the top of the division. And she's been a little disappointing so far this year. She just lost recently. Raging Sea defeated her. So now what it does is it makes it a little bit more wide open for someone to kind of step themselves up and move up the top of the division. And Raging Sea is one of them. If she were to win here, she puts herself right there at the top older fillies and mares in training right now. So the number 5, Candied, she is out. We just found out this morning, unfortunately, that she's going to be scratched. So we won't see Candied here. Hopefully everything is okay physically, and then we can see her running again real soon. We move to Tarifa. She goes for trainer Brad Cox, and she is so consistent, Alexa. She always shows up with a good effort. She's had 12 career starts, and in those 12 races, she's finished in the top 3 in 10 of those 12. But most of those races, she's run a little bit slower than what she would need to run to win this race. So while I respect her ability and everything she's done overall, we can't take it away from her in her resume. She's still going to need to step up a little bit to compete, I think, with Raging Sea, with Leslie's Rose, with Randomized, with those 3 in particular.
I agree. This is her first time out at Saratoga as well, coming off a decent 2nd place finish in the Double Dog Dare at Keeneland. She's won at this distance. She has tactical speed. She can be on the lead. She can come off the pace, but she's light on the speed figures. So it would need to be a step up today. And for that reason, I have kept her off of my selections. I don't think her odds are long enough for
I agree.
Yeah, she's 4.5 to 1. Exactly. 8, 10 to 1. Okay. But at 4.5 to 1, no.
Yeah. Then you'd start to feel okay about using her at a bigger price, maybe even like double what she is on the morning line. Lost to a horse named Jin most recently, who did come back and run second in the Shoe. Let's round out this field here, Alexa, with Randomized. This is last year's winner, and she's a multiple grade 1 winner. And I kind of like horses like this because you know what you're going to get from her. She's just going to go right to the front end. She has early speed in here. So right out of the gate, she's going to be sent hard. They'll try to clear and open up. She likes Saratoga. And now making her 2nd start back after a long layoff, she should have a lot more fitness after running that recent race. So I think she'll run really well in here.
I think she will. The thing with last year, her winning this last year, the race was really slow and she was on the lead. She had no pressure. She didn't get caught. Now the competition wasn't light. I mean, Idiomatic won the Breeders' Cup, pretty mischievous. The Oaks winner was in there, but still the pace setup gave her such an advantage. When I look through her running lines, almost all her wins have been when there's been a slow pace. And if there's a fast pace, she usually folds. But today she might get that slower pace. So I think she's valid in here as well.
Well, we'll finish up here and we'll move to our first break. When we return, we'll just move a couple races later on the day and talk to you about race number 11. Alexa's going to go with the 4, 7, 2, 3. I'll put the 3 Leslie's Rose on top of the 1, 4, 7. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We'll get set to move to race number 11 to talk about the Acorn. But before we do, we want to let everyone know we have a lot of great tools to help you out with Belmont Stakes Saturday. One of them is the Belmont Stakes wagering guide. If you scan the QR code on your screen right there, it'll take you to a wealth of information in analysis about all the Belmont contenders for Saturday, stuff about the races leading up to the Belmont. So if you want a lot of free information to help you make your wagers, scan that QR code right there. You can also head to shop.drf.com, and we can now preview the Friday race of the day. There's always one race of the day every day that you can get free past performances, free information on the website at drf.com. This is that race of the day, and these are the really nice 3-year-old fillies, Alexa. So for the Kentucky Derby, the boys run in that race. For the Kentucky Oaks, it's the fillies, the 3-year-old fillies that run in that race. So these are some of those same 3-year-old fillies running in this race right here, the Acorn. Let's meet the field, starting things out with Scottish Lassie. She's a tough read for me because she has one really, really good race out of her 4. You can make an excuse for one or two of the others, but it's just that one race that we're kind of playing her off of that was really, really good. So you ask yourself, like, which filly is going to show up? Is it going to be the one that had that awesome effort when she wins the Frizette? Or is it going to be the others when she was 4th in the Breeders' Cup? She finished an okay 3rd most recently in this race that we're watching. And this was her first start of the year. Which Scottish Lassie are we going to get, Alexa?
I don't know. I've included her in my picks, but not to win because it's tough. But I like her odds right at 12-1. I mean, if the morning line was 6 or 8-1, I'd be like, yeah, maybe not. Because like you're saying, only one of her races is really fast enough to compete here today, and it's not her most recent. But she's been out once. It was after a long layoff. She tired, so maybe she's raced more into shape and ready for today. If she runs her best, she totally can be at play. But she's never run this far before either.
Good Cheer is 7 for 7. She is perfect. She's done absolutely nothing wrong. She's proven on wet and sloppy tracks too. So if it starts to rain for whatever reason, like a lot of the things that you're looking at to try to poke holes in her, she actually has already showed us that those aren't real issues for her. And she probably should get a good setup in here too. Even with Shred the Gnar scratching, Scottish Lassie, Lacara, and Look Forward are all pretty quick. They'll all probably be close to the lead, and it should set up pretty well for a Good Cheer.
Yeah, I mean, Good Cheer. I mean, you see her odds are 1-2. She's incredible. You know, this is her first time out of the South, but I mean, she's never really had to use everything she's had in the tank either. Like, she's won by such huge margins in all of her races. I think unless she has a bad day, this is her race. I thought the horse with possibly the best chance would have been Shred the Gnar, but now we hear she's scratched. So I think that just benefits her even more. I think she's a standout.
Lacara is the number 3. I think she will be better in this race in a smaller field without as many horses all trying to push her on the front end. She still should have some company up front, but a little bit less company than she had to face in the Kentucky Oaks. And her trainer has said she really wants to be on the lead. That's where she does her best running. So I think she'll be one of those horses that's up fast early. You can see the projector has her right on the front. She's actually won a race at Saratoga before as well. So a lot of positives for her. I just don't know if the race shapes up as well with a couple of those other early speed horses.
Well, the race shape, and then I think she prefers a shorter distance. I think she wants at a mile or just over it. So I think this is going to be a little bit longer for her. So I have put her as my 4th selection, but I don't think it's shaping up perfectly.
Shred the Gnar, the number 4, would have been a real contender in here, but we got the news this morning that she is going to be scratched, so she's out of this one. That means we can move along to the 5, Bless the Broken. I like this horse in here. I think she's going to run well. Will it be good enough to beat Good Cheer? We'll see. What I do like about Bless the Broken, she's faced Good Cheer twice so far. And between the 2 times she's faced her, she showed a pretty good amount of improvement, getting closer to her and being a little bit more competitive. And if this race shapes up where the 1, the 3, and the 6 are all flashing speed, I think that means it's setting up really well for horses like Good Cheer, but that means it would also set up pretty well for a horse like Bless the Broken. And when I kind of go through the rest of the field, Alexa, and eliminate them, The one that I'm left with is Bless the Broken, who's really improving, and I think she'll get the setup just like Good Cheer. So I'm looking at this race thinking Bless the Broken will be a much better price. I think her and Good Cheer both get similar type trips. I'll use the both of them in exotics because I think this is the type of filly who's improving at the right time. So I like her. I think she runs well. She'll have to run really well to try to be the first filly to beat Good Cheer, but I just like the way the direction that she's heading and what she's been doing recently.
Yeah, I also like Bless the Broken from a handicapping standpoint and also just from a fan standpoint. This is such an amazing story. Her trainer, William Walden, he had addiction take over his life for 12 years, struggled with relapses, and then found horse racing is what brought him sobriety. And he now has a team of 6 men that all work together, encouraging each other, using horse racing and taking care of horses to help them in their substance abuse recovery journeys. So it's just like a kind of a heartwarming story in racing. She's named after the Rascal Flatts song to help you, overcome life's challenges and setbacks. And then they got third in the Oaks. So just such an incredible story. And horse racing just brings people together so often. This will be a tough spot, but she's got that closing speed. So I really think if she gets that fast pace to run at, she could be viable in here at least for a second place behind Good Cheer.
A lot of times we see that the discipline that's needed in horse racing is very good for folks who have had struggles with addiction because they have to have that discipline every day. It gives them something to
Routine and
strive to, right? Which is amazing. So that's Bless the Broken, the number 5. And when you mentioned Rascal Flats, I've been humming Life is a Highway ever since in my head because that's me and my son Milo. The 2 outside horses are a little bit longer shots in here. Look Forward. She comes off a win, but I'm a little worried because her best races are sprinting, and now she's going to be a little bit longer.
I agree. From a distance standpoint, I've passed on her.
And then Quick Kick, she was really good at 2, but I think she might have been really precocious because we just haven't seen any of her good races this year, Alexa.
Yeah, she's been stagnant and I think needs a class relief. She's just been in over her head in these graded stakes.
So we finish up the grade 1 Acorn and we move to selections. Alexa, I mean, no surprise here. Good Cheer is just so tough. You're going to put her on top and you will use the 5 Bless the Broken. So that's something that you can maybe take out of this race, that if you're looking for a little value, Alexa and I both think the 5 will run really well. We've got the same 4 horses there, just in slightly different order. Don't go anywhere. One more race to preview when we return for Friday at Saratoga. We finish things up with the grade 1 New York preview. This is race number 12 a little bit later on today, and we will see a very talented filly in here named She Feels Pretty. So they'll all have to be on their A game to beat her. Let's see if any of them are up to task. Forever After All, Alexa is the first one in here. She comes off of a really impressive win. I wonder, though, if it was because of the turf course and the way that turf course was playing. It was a yielding turf course. That means it was raining and it was wet. So I think a lot of the horses behind Forever After All might not have liked the turf course, and she might have just really liked it. And that's why we see that impressive margin. So I don't want to knock her for it, but I'm a little trepidatious coming out of that race moving forward.
I agree with you, but Gino, have you looked at the forecast today? Because I know yesterday it was predicting there might be some rain, so we could have another soft course.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be pouring. It hasn't been raining very much leading into it, so hopefully the turf course won't be as heavy and kind of soggy as it was there with the rain leading into it for a few days.
Yeah. Although, so this race has 8 horses in it, and 6 of them are foreign horses, and a lot of them did start their careers in other places, and they're used to having softer turf in a lot of other areas of the world. So a lot of times foreign horses do prefer a little bit of a softer turf.
The number 2 is Immensitude. She's multiple graded stakes place, but she was behind Forever After All when they faced last time out. She's also been behind Beach Bomb, who's a rival of hers. Can you make a case for this gal?
She seems to do a lot better actually on the firm turf. Her early and late figures are a little slow compared to some of the others, and she's been great at hitting the board in grade 3 races, but this grade 1 is a big jump up, so I'm going to pass on her.
I feel like if I'm gonna try to beat She Feels Pretty in this race, there are only a couple horses who I could even give a chance to. They're the horses who I don't know enough about. Because it's like the horses I know about and I've seen them run 5 or 6 times, I know She Feels Pretty is better than them. But a
Yeah.
horse like Gimme Another, I still could maybe give her one more chance because she's only been in the US twice. She finished second behind She Feels Pretty. She just goes behind her that day. But she'll make her third start of the U.S. She's from South Africa, where she was like a monster in South Africa. So I really respect her, and I might give her one more shot if the race sets up.
Yeah, she was in South Africa 2 years undefeated. So they were like, "All right, let's go to the US for our big purse money," right? And now she's with Graham Motion, who's a great trainer. He's won this race twice. She's a deep closer. I do think she makes sense in here.
Miwa is going to make her second start in the U.S. She's going to have to improve a lot off of that effort, though. Do you think she can do that?
Another one who just got to the States after being in France for a couple years. And I don't know. I would expect improvement because her one out here was after a 5-month layoff. But I mean, she needs a lot of improvement. So probably not.
Edict is a multiple Group 1 winner in Argentina. She's been grade 3 placed in the US. So she's probably going to have to improve because this is like a little bit tougher level. Here's a good look at her finishing second. This was at Belmont at Aqueduct on May the 4th in the Bogey. So I think she's on the improve, but she's going to be facing a couple really, really tough ones in here.
Yeah, and kind of a question I have is so they put blinkers on her that day and she performed really well. So I find it interesting that they've decided to take them off and not use them. I could see using as a long shot who's now kind of comfortable with her surroundings being in the US for a bit, but I think She Feels Pretty is a much better horse.
To me, if you're trying to bet this race, this next horse is the one that I think you want to bet against She Feels Pretty, and that's Beleza. She's only raced one time in the US, and it was very, very good. And she's the type of filly who might be able to get in front of She Feels Pretty and maybe move ahead of her. This, I thought, was an excellent effort, Alexa, where she was down on the inside. She was waiting to go. She was sort of looking for room behind horses. She was full of run. And as soon as she got a seam, she really exploded down on the inside. So I like her in this spot.
Yeah, I do too. It's my top pick as well. And, she's one of the horses who's moved to Miguel Clement's barn after his father passed away. She's a closer, but doesn't sit too far off the pace. So I think that can really be a pace advantage in here, help her because so many are deep closers and might find trouble. She is used to running a bit longer of races, but I think could deal with it. And if it does rain, she's also used to running in, softer turf races in Ireland. So I think Baez is a really strong pick in here at long odds.
Beach Bomb feels like she's going to be one of the main speeds in here, right, Alexa?
Yeah, I have her underneath. She's got a shot to be up, but I think she'll get caught.
And then we round things out with She Feels Pretty. She is so awesome. She's a multiple grade 1 winner. She's won 6 of her 9 starts for the fantastic trainer, Cherie DeVoe, who you know pretty well and you have some horses with. And she's just going to be so tough to beat. But you and I both feel like she may be a little vulnerable in here. We're going to put her in the second spot, right? As we finish up our show, go through the selections here.
Yeah, we both got Bays on top if She Feels Pretty. And then I have Forever After All and Beach Bomb. So we're going to try to take a shot, get a little bit of value.
We hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Good luck playing the races at Saratoga.